Sup guys, Bjorn here, I hope you're doing fantastic. I'm back on the beta again with Dragonflight just a few days away from launch, and I'm on the Enhancement Shaman this time. So let's talk through the Enhancement Shaman in Mythic Plus in Dragonflight Season 1, strength and weaknesses, what has changed, and how well you can expect to perform in Season 1, as well as how fun is it. Well, let's get straight into it. So when it comes to what's actually new for the Enhancement Shaman, there isn't a whole lot. The main thing is you can pick like more talents and legendaries, combining them in ways you couldn't before, so that feels fun. But in terms of fresh new stuff, there isn't really a whole lot, except maybe for this Ascendance line down here. You haven't really gained any utility, you haven't gained much defensive stuff either, maybe a little bit of max AP, a little bit of damage reduction, etc. But otherwise the Shaman feels very, very similar to how it did in Shadowlands, and I don't think that's a bad thing. In Mythic Plus right now, Enhancement feels quite good actually. You can do some really competitive sustained AoE, you can do some really competitive cleave, you can do some really competitive single target damage. If we're looking at the uncapped AoE side, then obviously you're gonna fall behind a little bit, no matter what build you're playing, because Enhancement just doesn't have that many uncapped AoE spells. Your main damage is gonna come from like Crash Lightning, proccing, etc. Maybe some Sundering, some Fire Nova if you're playing that, but otherwise your uncapped AoE is a little bit lackluster, and especially the uncapped AoE burst, you know, compared to most other specs, is going to be very, very lackluster. So if you're running into, let's say, a 10 mob pack as an Enhancement Shaman, or maybe even a 20 mob pack, and you have some really, really strong burst classes in your group, then you're going to feel very, very weak by comparison. However, if you have a 5 mob pack that lives for like half a minute, then suddenly you're going to feel really strong. So it all depends on the situation. And I will say, even on those uncapped AoE pulls, I was surprised to see that Enhancement Shaman could actually keep up with some other specs in the game still even there. So it is not all doom and gloom on the Giga pulls. Instead of talking about the damage, let's just send it here on this little 4 target dummy pack. I'm playing the Fire Nova build currently with primarily Wave and the Maelstrom stuff, because I feel like it's not only more fun, but maybe a little bit stronger right now. Both talent builds are just very, very strong on that 5 to 6 target consistent damage profile. Anything above or below that though, or when we're talking about burst, I do feel like you're lacking quite a bit there. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's see what we can do here on these 4 little targets if we go into our CDs right here. So we're starting off with a little wave here, and that will also give us some really strong haste, just straight out of the gates in this burst window here. So we are like doing a little bit of burst compared to you know, balanced druid and stuff like that. We can definitely keep up, but if we're talking about, you know, the other AoE classes that can burst like 200, 300k, 400, 500k even sometimes, talking about Arcane Mage, then yeah, definitely not in that range. But you can see that we are keeping, you know, 120k consistently here. I also think I have maybe less gear on this guy than my casters, so the damage numbers aren't really that great when you're talking about the comparison. I also can't track Lashing Flames, which is really annoying, so I'm sure you could do more than this that I'm currently doing right now. The damage numbers are obviously a meme anyway, but you can see it plays really fast. You have a lot of haste from that Primordial Wave cast. It's really fun, really engaging playstyle already this early in the patch. I'm not sure exactly how long this pull has been going for. I usually quit around like 1:30, so yeah, maybe we're there right now. I have no idea. I've been through 2 Primordial Waves, I guess, so yeah. Definitely didn't do a great job there representing the damage, I don't feel like, but you can see at least what the build is supposed to do, what the damage looks like on a whim there. I think it might be capable of doing like around 125 consistent AoE on those 4 targets if you play it well. I'm sure you could do more AoE as well if you don't pick Elemental Blast, Storm's Wrath, maybe don't pick Deeply Rooted Elements either. All of those talents are kind of mid, and they're just something I'm picking for like a single target and to smooth out my overall dungeon profile. I figured we'd send the full StormStrike 1-button build as well, just to see how it performs here. I think this is what it looks like. I'm not quite sure actually, I haven't tried that too much. When I did try it out earlier though, it didn't perform too hot, so I'm not sure if I'm just doing something wrong or maybe the build just isn't that great. Maybe it needs bigger AoE, maybe it's actually an uncapped AoE build, I'm not sure, but on these 4 targets here, let's see what it can do. So we need a Wind Fury weapon as well. That's, or sorry, a Wind Fury Totem. That's pretty exciting. Okay, let's see what we can do here. And you can see StormStrike is resetting a lot. So yeah, definitely a lot of StormStrike spamming in this build. We got a little Ascendance proc there. That's pretty nice. I didn't actually pop a pot, so let's just do that now, I guess. And we have our wolves back already. I am, I guess, still over 100k here with the pot. We have our wolves back up. And there is a lot of storm striking in this build, I'm not gonna lie. I completely even forgot to use Doom Winds. Okay, that's interesting. Doing this damage without Doom Winds. That's a very cringe move by me, actually. Okay, I'm not sure exactly why it's performing better now than it was before, but... Get another little Ascendance proc here. Our wolves are back up. If you enjoy Chain Lightning and the StormStrike, then I can tell you this is definitely a build for you, because that's basically all I'm pressing. But I have to say, it feels pretty good. Still feels pretty fast, like it doesn't feel slow compared to the other build, which I thought it would do. But the damage, yeah, the damage really isn't as high. You can see we're dropping below 100k now. We don't have the potion anymore. I do keep forgetting to press Doom Winds maybe, so we could probably have done a bit more here, but overall probably a little bit worse than the other one. However, you can see Crash Lightning actually doing quite a bit here, so on a bigger AoE pack where your Wind Fury or Crash Lightning is gonna kick in, and this build might be performing a little bit better. However, you also gotta remember that you are losing that Fire Nova damage, of course, which is also pretty good on uncapped, so I'm not sure if this build is actually performing better on uncapped than the other one even. Ascendance actually coming in at a solid 6% though, and this is another good thing about this build, since we are proccing deeply rooted elements all the time on AoE as well. We do get those like Ascendance burst damage procs on everything, which is uncapped of course, and that can really help the uncapped AoE and the uncapped AoE burst as well if we actually get lucky with those procs. So it's something to keep in mind. But as you can see, both Shaman builds definitely performing pretty decently on 4 targets. I think you could sustain like 120, 125k with the Fire Nova build. You could probably sustain like 105, 110k maybe with the StormStrike build, and of course these numbers don't really mean anything. It depends on gear, depends on consumables, depends on stats, depends on everything. So this is just in reference to one another, right? One build is maybe 10% better than the other one right now, in my experience at least. So how do I think Enhancement will perform in Dragonflight Season 1 then? Well, I definitely think it'll be a strong niche spec at like that 5 to 6 target range. You will perform quite well if your group is maybe struggling, the pack's lasting long, you're moving from pack to pack on a high key, you're going slow, but if you're pulling really big, then you're obviously going to struggle a lot. That's pretty certain no matter what build you're playing. If you're playing the StormStrike build, I do think you can have some quite decent single target, and that is going to be pretty strong. As an overall dungeon niche, you know, you can bring Enhancement Shaman for some good 5 to 6 target. You can do some okay uncapped with this build as well, and then you're there for the single target DPS too. So in that sense, the StormStrike build might actually be quite versatile in MPlus. The Fire Nova build is a lot less single target focused. It does probably do a more uncapped, I think, and I definitely think it does more 5 to 6 target damage than the StormStrike build, but then you're gonna fall behind on the single target boss encounters a little bit, so definitely something to think about, something to maybe change up from a dungeon to dungeon basis. In terms of how strong you are in contention to other specs, well, I think you're gonna outperform most range specs on just pure DPS on like a 5 to 10 target pull. I think Enhancement looking pretty decent there. However, when it comes to utility, when it comes to how much you want to bring Enhancement Shaman to a key, that's where we start to struggle a little bit maybe. We do have Cap Totem, we do have Lust, We do have some decent niche utility, but the problem with the Shaman tree is you actually have to like pick what utility you want, right? You can't just pick it all, so we might end up actually losing some utility all in all from Shadowlands to Dragonflight here. You also lose some mobility with not having fair lunch, etc. So I don't think Shamans are in a fantastic spot, but having multiple different builds to play in Mythic Plus, being good on AoE, being good on single target, definitely a pretty solid patch for the Enhancement Shaman, I feel like. And if you want a fast-paced melee in the first patch that really has a lot of haste, that can do some really strong consistent damage, then I think Enhancement Shaman might just be the spec for you. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you want to see more content like this in Dragonflight, then definitely subscribe down below, that would help me out a ton. And otherwise, just have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Huh? Oh, you're still here. Well, I'm sorry. I think you should probably go and check out a video maybe over here or somewhere here. You can even subscribe down here. That would be really nice. I would highly appreciate that. I'm gonna go snort some more lines. See ya.